but you can buy something that may not be as attractive and make it attractive.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Well, and I'm going to continue on with your question as far as what else is involved. So once you speak with the mortgage banker, they're going to put you through an exercise, and that's basically asking for your income documentation, your savings and checking account information, if there's a down payment involved. They're going to pull a copy of your credit report, which you've already hopefully done a few steps ahead, and you already know about what's going to be. Yes. I did it. I understand it. But every lender has to pull their own credit report. It has to come directly to them. It can't be given to them by somebody else. And I want to throw this out there as a disclaimer. It seems as though there's this misconception out there that, there's credit karma I hear sometimes, or whatever it may be. And I'm not too very well versed on the various different websites out there, but they somehow give a consumer credit score, and a consumer credit score sometimes varies from a vendor credit score. Right. We are considered vendors, basically, to the credit reporting agencies. We pull credit reports from them, and we are a vendor. But now a consumer goes and comes back and says, "Hey, I have a 900 credit score. I have an excellent credit score. I have a 900 credit score." That's when my eyes, bulge up, and I go, "There's no such thing as a 900 credit score." So,
how'd you master that
one? I'm sorry.
No, you say, well, how did you get that? Since it's not available.
Yeah. So the highest credit score you could have is 850, and then the lowest credit scores you can have is 350. So it ranges between 350 to 850. So many times the consumer credit score is very different from a vendor credit score. So it's really important to pull it from a reputable place, such as, I believe it's freecreditscore.com and things of that nature. I'd pull your credit scores from there to get something closer to us, basically, because it's not always identical. Oftentimes they don't match. So it's really important when your mortgage banker pulls your credit scores, that is a credit score that every single other lender is going to get, basically, as well, too. So
on that, I have a quick question, because there's the three different, there's Equifax, TransUnion, and what's the other one?
And Experian.
And Experian. So I know that, like, with different things, like, I know that, like, if you go to buy a car, they typically pull, I don't remember which one, but they pull one of those.
So the reason why they do that is because each one of these credit reporting agencies charge for a pull. So, and everybody basically makes a credit policy decision that says, okay, well, one credit score is enough for us to make a decision. But now certain lenders, we as a lender want to pull, and most equivocally in the mortgage industry, everybody pretty much pulls a three credit scores called tri-merge, where basically all three credit reporting agencies merge their report into one report, basically.
Oh, okay.
And that's what we pull. And why do we do that is because sometimes you may have had a relationship with a credit card company that only reports to Experian, and if I don't pull Experian and I pull TransUnion, I will not ever know that you were had late payment history with them, basically. So that's why we pull all three of them, and we want to understand what really truly happened with all three agencies.
And that's good, because like I just had my credit scores checked, and I know that mine differ, and so that's good for me to know then.
Correct.
You guys check all three.
Yeah. And then as a consumer, you really would go directly to the credit reporting agencies such as Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and correct that information directly with them, basically. So and there's the ways to do that is by writing to them, or if you pulled it online, you could dispute the information online. And it takes about a 30 to 60 day process to dispute information on your credit report for it to come back with a definitive result, whether it was valid or whether it was corrected, basically. So if you're disputing a late pay, you might it might come back as valid just because they would have proven the fact that you were actually late, or if you were really truly not late and it was misreported, it would be removed off of your credit report at that point in time. But yeah, so basically we're going to put you through an exercise, and one of them is pulling your credit report, gathering the income documents, your assets, which involves liquid assets, not basically jewelry, things of that nature. We're not looking for anything like that. And
priceless gems.
Exactly.
No. Right now.
Exactly. And we do look at the net worth by things of that nature, but it's really liquidity is what we're looking for, because we don't want you to go out and sell jewelry to buy a property. And some of the other things that we're looking for are stability of job. How long have you been at your job? And stability of your income as well too. I mean, are you jumping from one job to the other? Have you been unemployed for a long period of time? These are the things that we're looking for to qualify you. So once you talk to a mortgage banker, you get qualified entirely, and you get a certificate that says a pre-approval letter, basically. And that pre-approval letter is then provided to a realtor. So that the next step is going to be finding a realtor. And oftentimes your banker will have a great suggestion for you because they work with good realtors and bad realtors, and they might have a say-so.
Everything in between.
Right. And they might have a say-so because some realtors have a good track record with investment properties. Some realtors have got a great track record with flipping of homes and things of that nature. So, we really want to ask for opinions of various different realtors, and you could get that directly from a banker if you choose to, or again, a family member, and oftentimes, there are realtors and families that have their real estate licenses, but you really want to vet them out and make sure that they're actually, again, I'm big on subject matter experts because, a market expert as well too. If you're buying in LA, don't get a realtor from Orange County, things of that nature. So it's really important they understand the market, and oftentimes they have a network in the particular neighborhood that you're buying into, so they might know of some property that's coming up versus somebody else might not know about a property that's coming up for sale. So it's really important for you to pick a realtor in that sense, that so you're not buying something at the top of the market or the bottom. Obviously bottom of the market is always good.
Always good.
It's always good. What is bottom or top of the market even?
Top of the market means high, like you're buying it at the height of the market.
Got it.
And
Okay.
then if you're buying something,
of course, at
a good price.
Yeah. Okay, so I had a question before I forget, because you mentioned something that reminded me, because I'm self-employed. So I know a little bit about this because I just recently went to a presentation that you did that kind of answered some of these questions for me. But as someone that's self-employed, obviously my income can be proven through bank statements and everything, but the source of that income is always changing. And there are some steady factors in there, but it does change quite a bit as someone that's self-employed and that's up to several different things. So do you guys work with that? Like,
Absolutely.
How does that? Yeah.
Absolutely. LA has a big population of entertainment industry individuals, and we understand the entertainment industry. And coming from a credit union that was Warner Brothers Credit Union, so we definitely understand the entertainment industry. So entertainment industry has evolved throughout the years, where a lot of the employees have become self-employed, and they're independent contractors. They go from one show to the other. So we definitely understand individuals that have a self-employed income. We have programs for bank statement, bank statement programs is what we call it, and we validate someone's income through bank statements. And also, if it fluctuates from one job to the other, we average things out. So definitely, we have the capacity of qualifying a self-employed individual. And a lot of Arsenal Financial's client base is people like that.
Entertainment.
Basically. Yeah. Entertainment industry has been a big driving force in our business model, and we have anywhere from celebrities into their job fluctuates as well too, but obviously because they go from one show to the other, they might not be employed for a movie or a TV show or radio, whatever it may be, for a period of time, but then they've got a huge show coming up next afterwards, basically. So we definitely understand that piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Once you find a realtor, obviously, you buy the property, you get into a transaction, and the lender will fund the loan, and hopefully the last piece of it is going to be giving you the keys.
That's right. Elizabeth, you've now moved into your new home. How do you feel?
I feel so wonderful.
I visualize.
Yeah.
Well, that's
like the whole time he's talking, I'm like, oh, I see it.
Visualizing it. Yeah. So it makes the steps of the transaction not so scary when you have a professional sitting down with you talking about it. And it goes back to what Marty said earlier about, going online and trying to, find your way through and purchase a home by going online and picking a company online. Maybe that might be able to help you. If you don't have that person who you're talking to as an individual, loan officer, professional, sometimes I think that piece of it you really need, because you want someone who can guide you. You don't want to just put your information into a system and then get an email, and then they tell you to scan these documents and send them to them, and you're not talking to
Is that what sometimes
or meeting with a person. You want an automated system within the company that you're working with, but you want a live human being who can answer your questions and walk you through the process.
Okay, so you can do that online. People do that and like just go online, fill out stuff, send in their papers, and
absolutely.
Yes, there are online.
Absolutely, and it's very common.
I would feel like I would need a human.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do. In my opinion, you do need a person. So especially, to answer your questions, and it's not even just for first-time home buyers, but anyone purchasing a piece of property is a huge investment. And so you should take the time to meet with someone who can talk to you about the investment that you're making. Because if you're a first-time home buyer, that's one thing. It's your first home that you're buying in most cases. And so, yes, you need those answers. But if you are buying homes for investment reasons or anything else, you want to make sure that the person you're dealing with has a clear picture of what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
Versus them, because it can't be in hindsight, because things come up, so, this person might want to buy an investment property, never bought one before. There are rules and regulations that surround that. So if you're not having a conversation, that information may not come up. So you might be wasting your time, or you may, there should have been another step in there before you did this. So to have that person be able to guide you through the process makes a lot of sense.
Well, and talking to a live human being too that has the expertise, in my own experience anyways, you find out that a lot more is possible than what you originally thought. And that goes across all industries, in my opinion.
Right.
But I mean, even talking about, you kind of touched on it earlier, but the down payment assistance program, because I'm from the Midwest. I am from the Midwest, where if a home is $1 million, then it is a freaking mansion.
Yeah.
Here, that's kind of run of the mill in LA. So to me, it's like, it's a lot harder to save up for a down payment for $1 million home than a $300,000 home.
Exactly.
In the Midwest. So that was always for me the big intimidation factor in Los Angeles home buying. I always was like, I'm just going to have to buy outside of Los Angeles, but that's apparently not the case.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Because you'll know what your options are. And down payment assistance programs are a great way to go. And like Marty said, there are some restrictions, but there's more of a benefit than anything else. So you at least have that option to look into it and see what's available, especially when you're talking about buying your first home and how much money you need to put down on that home. If you can get some assistance in that area, it's great.
Well, speaking of being a first-time home buyer too, so I want to make sure that everybody understands what programs are out there for people to buy as a first-time home buyer. So oftentimes people say, "Oh, what are the first-time home buyer programs?" But we do have the Cal HFA product, which is specific to California residents, and that's basically a zero down payment program and then. Furthermore, there's money for their closing costs.
Right.
So, so it's a great program. So a lot of people in our neighborhoods obviously can do this program just because there are census tract driven programs and income driven programs. So if you make, let's say, I'm going to give you an example. If you make less than $54,000 and you are buying a house in the $300,000-$400,000 range, you're a perfect candidate for this program because now you qualify essentially. And then there are further stipulations that you could buy something higher on the purchase price if you choose to, if it's within a certain area basically of the properties, because we are trying to encourage people to buy in emerging markets and areas that are just developing, and so therefore we identify these census tracts, and census tracts is basically a community that we've identified that needs to be developed basically with people moving into it. And so we try to make it more incentivized for people to move into those neighborhoods basically. And so what does that mean? It just means that you could buy a property with no down payment and with no money out of your own pocket essentially and become a homeowner. It's very rare you could do that essentially.
Right, outside of that program.
Exactly. And if your state does not offer that program either, because not every state has it, then you might be out of luck, basically, to be able to buy in another state. Being from Midwest, I'm not sure which state you're from.
Missouri.
Not sure. I think they do have one, actually.
Yeah.
That's right. So
Well, I want to buy here before I buy in Missouri.
there you go.
But yeah.
And then we've got FHA, which is Federal Home Administration.
Right.
I apologize.
You just went blank for a second. Yeah, the Federal Home Administration.
And they are basically the insurance company or the insurance organization that insures, which is the federal government in this case, that insures those first-time home buyer loans. And that's basically with it's a little less 3.5% down payment. So which is fairly low down payment.
Low.
So if you're buying a $100,000 house, for example, that's $3,500 out of your pocket, basically, to buy a home. And that's fairly, affordable and doable, essentially, as well.
That's really doable.
Yeah.